I gotta pay more attention to comments when they come in. Usually I'm just like, I like them and thumbs up them, because anyone that, I don't get a lot of comments when people do. I always like them, and I sometimes I don't read them. You think, well, it depends on what it is, but sometimes I'm just kind of, I think, no, I'll tell you what it is. When you see the comments on my creator studio, they're not connected to the video itself. They just come up, it'll just pop up, and I don't know sometimes what they're talking about, so I just like them and move along. And I was looking, and someone commented on this one, and I was like, oh, that doesn't look good, and so I gotta kind of pay more attention to that. It's funny shit though. And also, just for the record, like, I don't agree with that at all. I'm completely anti-murder, That's never the answer to anything. There is no answer to that question, though. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. That's happening. It's in the whole country's like that. There's no quick fix. There's no long fix. There's no fix, period. It's just, I mean, I've thought about it before pertaining to here, and it's impossible, because it's not just one problem, it's a lot of different problems, and fixing those problems isn't something you could do on a civic scale. It's personal, It has to be a case-by-case basis, because there's all different reasons for it. There's no one, and I know it's frustrating. People get frustrated. I get that. But it's not gonna really get better. It's just gonna get worse. I was watching this realtor guy who travels the U.S., and he points out some of this that's been happening everywhere, and it's pretty fucking shocking, especially in California. And he was showing these the only places that were like safe from things were like places where houses are $2 million, or $1.5 million or something crazy like that. A one-family home here in Hawaii, the average is $1 million for a one-family home. That's fucking, it's impossible to do for a lot of people. And what it does is, I mean, it creates a divide, like a wider valley between the have and the have-nots, or as a friend of mine says, the foot washers and and those that have their feet washed. I like the foot washers, but those that have their feet washed needs a better name for that. I could be fucking it up though. Why am I throwing him under the bus? He might have had a better name, but it was something like that. It's just so fancy, have and the have-nots type of thing, But this was a plan that was set in motion a long time. It's the only way that this kind of this society could have gone. The only way. It's not even like a capitalism thing, because capitalism isn't actually fucking capitalism. Like, how much risk is Walmart putting out? That's not letting the market decide. That's giving you zero choice. Not like socialism is a good thing either. I mean, there was a time when we didn't have that kind of stuff, though. We didn't even have, do you want this government or that government? I mean, it wasn't really a thing. And there were still roads, there was still a doctor around, Just watch Little House on the Prairie. It's a pretty good example. You didn't see the the government trying to make Michael Landon's kids into trannies or anything. It was just they didn't have a say in anything that was going on in your family. I mean, I don't even know. Back then, I don't even know what the idea of a central government was. I mean, you always had central banking, of course, and you had like you had some form of government, but it was like more like the kind of thing you'd have in a high school. Like you have the principal and then the vice principal, and they just kind of they were just the faculty. I mean, it wasn't this kind of obtrusive thing now where they have their fingers in every single part of your life, in the insidious way that they now do. I don't know. There's no answer to something like that, And I think way too much about things, and I've thought about what do you do, and I know a lot of guys as far as the homeless situation. I know a lot of guys out here. I met them over the years, or I just befriended them, at different times, and it's like a lot of them, and usually the bad ones are the ones that have picked a chosen lifestyle. Like they just want to be out here. They don't want any kind of responsibility at all, and you cannot help them. You cannot help them. Like I told the story before. I knew a guy that got housing. And it was like he tried his best to sabotage the whole thing until he got thrown out. And he was much happier next time I saw him walking around out in the street. It's like that's a hard mentality for a lot of people to understand. But that is the mentality for a significant portion of people out here. But in the main, in the United States, people are just priced out of things. They just can't afford to live. You look at some of the more affluent communities, or even what used to be, I guess, middle class communities, and the decline in population. Some of these places by a third and almost a half. It's like, well, where are they going? Some of them are going nowhere. Untenable is a word that keeps popping up lately, and that's exactly what it is. It's like you can offer as many services as you want, and all states and counties have a budget for that, and they want to help people because it keeps them in their job, but there's not enough demand for the kind of help they're offering, because help is conditional. But on the other hand, you can't give unconditional help because people would just be taking that money and just fucking doing drugs and shit, or So what do? There really isn't much you can do. Especially when you get into a situation where there are people that are just trying to escape living in some kind of system. There was a time when you could literally go off and live in a woods, but now there's nowhere that's not owned by someone, and if it's not controlled in a very hands-on way, like you'd have, I guess, some area of what would be considered just like state park or like wilderness or something. That place has a hands-on with another group of people that are even worse to be under the yoke of, It's a problem with no solution. It's a problem with no solution. And there's a lot of those more and more recently. More and more problems that tend to, that have gotten to a point that now have no solution. Even if you wanted to, there is no solution. We're all going to be fine now. This is just a little thing. We'll get out of here. and everything's going to be fine. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.